Hi guys and welcome back to my channel. The case that I'm going to be looking into today is another unsolved case. Sadly, it is the murder of Angie Barlow. This case was suggested by Tom, so thank you for that. I appreciate any suggestions you guys have, and of course if you have any more, please do let me know. Angela Gina Ann Barlow, also known as Angie by pretty much everyone, was born on the 21st of August in 1993 to parents Stephen and Christina Barlow. She was born in Denver in Colorado. Growing up, she had three younger sisters, Wendy, Jessica, and Zarama. I apologize profusely if I've said that name wrong. And she grew up in Indiana with her family. She was such a lovely young girl, so full of life and energy. And she had ambitions to become a dancer. And later on in life, that is what she was working towards, becoming a dancer. It was something her family really supported. She was a very hard worker. She was like fiercely independent. You know, nothing really fazed her, and she wouldn't be not terrified, scared of doing things on her own. She would just go out and do it, kind of thing. Whilst in high school, she was this fantastic athlete. She was really good at softball, bowling. And she loved just, I don't know, chilling out with her family and like those activities as well. She would love playing them with her sisters, things like that. You know, she was a very family orientated girl and a very sporty, active girl too. So Angie actually lived later on in life with her roommate called Mona Jackson. And they had been friends for a very long time, 11 years. They were very, very close, as you can imagine. She also had this little dog who she absolutely loved, a little Yorkie called Pablo. She just, as many people do with the dogs, you know, he was her best friend. As I've said, she was working towards being a dancer. She moved to Indianapolis. That opened up a bit more opportunities for her. She was working really hard, but she would also have fun. You know, she would travel around, have fun with her friends, be very social. Everything just seemed to be going really well for Angie. She would do private dances as well, but mainly she worked as a dancer in a club called Rio. She wouldn't often do private dances, you know, it was just like an occasional thing, I guess, to earn a little bit more money. You know, it wasn't something she did regular. Angie then receives this text message from an unknown number. It was a woman asking if she would do a private dance for her and her husband. Their anniversary was coming up. She wanted to treat him. It was like a present, you know, get this dancer for him. So that was what the plan was. Now, the woman never actually mentioned her name throughout the entire conversation that they had. She had a request that Angie would wear a matching underwear set, either black or red. And then obviously she gave her the address. She gave her the door code key, because it was like a gate and you needed to put the key in. The keypad, you know what I mean. And then it was arranged for in like 2 weeks' time. Angie showed her roommate Mona, her best mate, one of her best friends, you know, this message that she got about this private dance. Mona got weird vibes from it and told her not to go. But the thing is that Angie had recently been on holiday to Miami. She had, you know, spent a decent amount of money there, like you do on holiday, and she just wanted. This would have given her an opportunity to earn a bit more money. And not only that, like I said, she wasn't scared. She was very independent. And so if an opportunity came up, she would just grab it and go for it. So that's what she did. Just before she left for the party, which obviously happened in 2 weeks later, she sent Mona a text message, which literally said, doing a private party, this is the address just in case I go missing, lol. And then she sent her a screenshot of the address and the door code key, the gate key, whatever it is. It was the 26th of October in 2016. Angie was 23 years old, you know, and she went to this party. After sending that text message, she didn't really think anything was amiss, and, you know, hours later she ends up posting on Snapchat. It looked like she was at the party at the time, she was in some sort of bathroom, and she had a smile on her face, she was having a good time, nothing seemed amiss. That was about 12 p.m. And as you can see, she seems happy. But the problem is that Angie never came home the next day. Nobody hears from her. Her mother finds out that after this private dance, nobody heard from her, and she instantly gets worried. She goes over to Angie's apartment. She goes inside and notices straight away that Angie hasn't been home. She also notes that her dog, Pablo, was hungry. He had no water, you know, which is something she never ever would have done. She adored that little dog. So she would have always made sure that, you know, he was fed and watered at the very least. But he wasn't. that was springing up alarm bells straight away. Then Mona obviously recalls that she had got this message with the location of the party on, so she was only a few blocks away and she heads straight over there. She tries the door code, the gate code, and that doesn't work for some reason, but she doesn't let that stop her because she's looking for her best friend. She climbs over the fence and enters the property. And this is when she finds out that the apartment that it was being held in has actually been fully cleared out. Obviously there was something mysterious going on here. Like, she goes to this party, then there's nobody there, she's missing, the apartment's all gone, there's nothing inside it, it's just weird. So they obviously report Angie is missing. But, you know, with the police now on the case, they were out looking for her family, her friends, everyone was just doing everything they could to try and find Angie. Police were looking at CCTV, and they actually managed to find some outside of the party. It shows Angie's blue car leaving, but she wasn't actually on her early hours in the morning. She wasn't on her own because another car was like very close behind her, literally caught in the same shot. Police tried to find out who was driving any of these cars, but they couldn't tell. It was too dark, it was too grainy, the angle, they just couldn't see who was actually driving them. But they did manage to get a license plate from the car right behind Angie. On the other side, her family was getting search parties going. They were just looking anywhere, but I mean, they didn't really know where to look. Like, she'd gone to this party, but they just had to look everywhere, all around the party, all around where she lived, just everywhere, I guess. With the information that the police had about this license plate, they ran that through their database and they actually came up with it. The car was registered to one Raven Miller. Her partner was called Baron McCulloch, and it turns out that they were the ones hosting that party that night. But there's something strange going on about this because Angie actually knew them and she didn't like them. She'd previously dated Baron, you know, for a brief time, and then her and Raven and Baron were just, things between them were just not very good. So it has been said from that Angie would not have known that they were hosting the party or that the dance was for them, because she would have never ever gone in a million years. She didn't like them, they didn't get on. Why on earth would you go and dance for somebody that you don't like? You just wouldn't, right? So it's led people to believe that she was sort of drawn there, not knowing that they were them. Again, this woman never gave a name, so how would she know it? That when she was let into the party, somebody else opened the door for her. She didn't see them, because if she did, she probably would have just left. You know, that kind of thing. So, of course, the police spoke to both of them. They said that Angie left the party with someone else. You know, she definitely was there that night, but then she just went. And that was that. The thing was, police didn't have any evidence to prove anything else. Prove that they had done something to her, that anything. Literally nothing. So, of course, they questioned them, but they had nothing, so they had to let them go. Not long after this, they both moved from Indianapolis to Arizona, Phoenix. Everyone carried on trying to find Angie. Everyone was looking everywhere. The police, the community, you know, they were all putting the feelers out, doing search parties, just looking everywhere they could. But they couldn't find her. Then, 12 days after she vanished, her car was found 8 miles away. And it was a mess. Angie kept a very clean car. She wouldn't leave crap all over the floor, things like that. The windows and stuff were all scratched and marked. It's not something Angie would have done, but the car was a complete wreck. So that wasn't like her at all. And Mona found it very strange that they found the car in the area that they did, because she, again, they were all searching for her. She had scoured that area previously, and she said the car was never there. So it was very strange that it suddenly turned up there. They apparently did find evidence in this car, but they have not released that evidence. Again, with ongoing cases, police like to keep certain things back to make sure that they can nail this perp kind of thing. So yeah, they didn't release that information. Angie's face was put on a missing persons billboard. She was just put out there wherever she could be to try and bring somebody forward, anyone that might know anything. But sadly, you know, it turned into months and nobody heard anything. But then 8 months later, a tip came into the police saying that Angie was deceased and they knew where her body was. They said that she was buried in the garden of this specific house. Now, this house apparently was once rented or something like that by friends of barons or family of barons, something along those lines anyway. But at the moment, it had been vacant for quite a while, you know, and this man had just moved in. He had just began renting it. So the police go round, they start searching around. They ended up finding a body in a shallow grave in the back garden. Now, they didn't think this man had anything to do with it. You know, he'd only just started renting the house. Can you imagine just renting a house and then finding a body in it. Oh my god, how devastating would that be? Very weird. But yeah, they didn't think he had anything to do with it. The body was badly decomposed, which did sadly turn out to be Angie Barlow's, and they actually had to identify her by her tattoos because it was that bad. She was that badly decomposed at that point. Now, obviously her parents were contacted. They were absolutely devastated to learn that their daughter had been, you know, they thought she was missing. Well, there's always a hope that they're out there somewhere, and now it had been confirmed that she wasn't, so it's absolutely heartbreaking. And she was 23, she'd gone to a party to dance. She was 23 years old. It's just beyond tragic. They never actually released her cause of death. Again, they're keeping that under wraps. And at the moment, and that's all we know in Angie's case, it remains open. They're still looking into it, and it's still an active investigation. Obviously, it happened in 2016, which is like 6 years ago now. So you just really hope that someday soon they will get caught, whoever did this. Especially if they found DNA in the car or whatever evidence they found in the car. You know, you really hope that that would lead to someone eventually. I did see that the police do believe that Angie may have actually been killed in the apartment that night, and then her body was driven out and then obviously buried in that back garden. So they don't believe that Angie actually drove her car that night, that somebody else was driving it. But they made it look like she left in a car when she actually didn't, so who knows. Angie Barlow's case still remains unsolved to this day. If anyone has any information, please let the authorities know. We really need to get this case solved after all these years. For a family that are just heartbroken at the loss of their daughter, friend, anyone who knew her. Just such a tragic loss of life. And why? Who even knows? We don't know motive. We don't know who did it. It's just frustrating. But yeah, that's the end of the case. If you guys have enjoyed this video, give me a big thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel for some more content. Anyway, that's all I have today on the case of Angie Barlow. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, bye!